How are you this Friday morning? We've got just about a minute and a half before we get started. Thanks for joining me. You know, I woke up this morning and was thinking about all these things that I had to do today, and thankfully, I mean, this is one of my favorite things to do, but I had a whole plan that would have had me away from home before 10 o'clock until thankfully I remembered, hey, that I actually needed to teach this class, which is not a need, it's actually something I quite enjoy. So I'm just going to get started talking a little bit. One of the things that I've been thinking about, now that we are in full spring momentum, it's really beautiful outside. I keep seeing new things blooming and blossoming every day. And if there's anything that spring is a reminder of, it's that everything changes. We sometimes forget that in our daily lives, but everything changes. Nothing remains the same. And for the last couple of weeks, we've done pretty quiet practices, and I really was kind of focusing on, you know, what we might do when we're feeling a little anxious or stressed out. But there is another emotion that can be addressed through the way that you practice yoga. So, what about when you're feeling kind of lethargic or you need energy or you're just feeling kind of lazy and slow? Morning. The best practice or the best way to practice yoga when that is your mood is to practice a faster, more stand-up kind of yoga. So this morning we're gonna make the practice a little upbeat. Now we're gonna get started by just kind of warming our bodies up to get ready for it. But one of the fastest ways and the easiest practice that you can do, especially if your mood is such that you need some energy, is to learn to do sun salutations. So we're going to take it slow, but we're going to end the practice today with us being able to do some full sun salutations. So I hope you've had a good week and that things in your life are going well and that you're enjoying. Hopefully, most people on this joining me today, or if not all of you, have been vaccinated, and maybe you're starting to get back into a little bit more of a normal life. We aren't going back to normal anytime soon, I'm pretty sure. But I've certainly enjoyed being able to hang out with friends and do some things I had not been doing for more than a year. Okay, let's go to the mat. Max, get up on the sofa. So go ahead and lie down. And so when I do my practice in the morning, the very first thing I do is just lie down and really assess how my body feels. And this is the best position to do that in. You can do it seated, but I like to feel my whole body on the floor. And I can sort of notice any little areas of discomfort or aches and pains or anything that feels tense. And then I want to just kind of stretch my body out. Now, we've done this before. Just take your arms overhead. And as you inhale and really stretch from your waist out through your fingertips, stretching up on the inhalation. And on the exhalation, go ahead and let that exhalation stretch all the way down through your toes. Okay? So inhale, stretching up from the waist, stretching out through the fingertips. Then exhale and stretching out through the toes as you exhale, as if you're sending that energy up and down through your body. And one more time, inhale. And exhale. Now let's just stretch the body, your body around to the left. So your torso and arms first, and then take your legs and do a big side stretch. So inhale, stretch out through up through the right side of your body, and out and down through the right side of your body till you reach your toes. And one more time. Good. Let's just go to the other side. So taking your torso and arms around to the right, and then take your legs, and we'll do a left side stretch. So stretching, inhale, up and out through the left fingertips, and down as you exhale through the left toes. And one more time. And exhale. Good. Okay. Let's come up to all fours. So coming up into table position. So as you come into table position, remember to keep your shoulders directly over your wrists. Hands and arms are shoulder width apart. Knees and feet are directly underneath your, knees are directly underneath your hips. And your knees and feet are hip width apart. Good. Okay, so let's just take cat, tuck, and arch. Let's warm up the back a little bit. As you inhale, lift your head, lift your sit bones, melt your heart. Exhale, round the tailbone down, arch your back up, and drop your head. Don't bend your arms, so the arms stay straight. This is all a back movement, just to warm up the back. Couple more times. Good, and then coming back to neutral, curl your toes under for downward facing dog. And on your inhalation, just lift your knees but keep them bent. Lengthen the spine back. And then exhale as you start to lower your heels, but just bicycle a little bit. So nice and slow, up on the toes of one foot as you press down on the heel of the other foot. Just warming up those calves. Good, and then coming into the full pose. Feeling that length in your spine as you breathe. Remember to keep your arms straight, so if you start to sag in the elbows there, straighten those arms back and isometrically press the hands towards the center of the mat. Good. Finish your next exhalation. Come back down to table. Let's step the right leg up into a lunge. Now it's okay here if you've got blocks and you want to use blocks, try to get your fingertips at least on the floor beside your right foot. So even if you're not real, if that's hard for you, just come way up on, even if you come up on your middle finger, but try to lengthen the spine out. Good, and breathe. And then bring your hands onto your knees, both hands onto your knees. Now if you feel a little unsteady here, isometrically press your left knee and right heel towards each other. Just isometrically, that'll stabilize you. Breathing. And just kind of let yourself lean into that right knee so you feel the stretch in your left psoas muscle or groin area. Shoulders are relaxed. Good. Now this next one could be a little bit challenging. So what I want you to do is take both hands to the inside. Just start with your hands on the inside. Okay? You might even be on your fingertips. Depending on how tight your groin area is, you may not be able to go all the way on this. But as much as possible, bend at the elbows to try to bring your forearm as close to the ground as you can get it. Okay, so if you can only get to here, if you bend and that's it, that's fine. Just go to wherever you can and breathe. Finish your next exhalation and come on back up. Let's change sides. So you're going to bring the left leg up in front. Make sure your knee is over your ankle. Start here with your fingertips. And then bring your hands up. Lean into that left knee so you feel the stretch here. Relax the shoulders. Again, if you feel unstable, isometrically hug your right knee and left heel towards each other. And breathe. Relax the shoulders. Good. And then bring your hands now to the inside of the left foot. So you start here, and then once again, you're going to bend at the elbows and come as close to the ground with your forearms as you can. Wherever you are is okay. So if you're way up here, if this is it for you, that's still a stretch and it's fine. Make sure you're still taking nice deep breaths. And then finish your next exhalation, come up. Let's come back to table. Coming back to table. So this time, your shoulders are still directly over your wrists, okay, and your hands and arms are shoulder width apart. But this time I want you to actually walk your knees back behind your hips. Okay, keep those shoulders over the wrist and isometrically press your two hands towards each other. Okay, curl your toes under, and then on your next inhalation, lift into plank pose and breathe. So your butt is flat, and you're not up like this. You're using abs too here. On your next exhalation, lower your knees. Let's push back into child's pose. And then after you finish your next exhalation, come on back up to table. Again, starting with the shoulders directly over the wrists and the knees underneath the hips. Isometrically press those hands together. Now walk those knees back. And when you're ready, lift into plank pose again. Bring the knees back, child's pose. Now that's a yoga plank pose. It's not typically the plank pose that you do in a gym. Okay, now go ahead and stretch yourself all the way out onto the floor. We're going to just warm up the back a little bit again. So we're going to do that yin yoga version of a back bend first. So take your feet wide. Take your fingertips to the edges of your index fingers to the edges of the mat. Just your index fingers. Your thumbs are facing forward. They're still on the mat. Your third, fourth, and fifth fingers are off the mat. Okay, and then from here, I just want you to just do a gentle back bend. If this feels a little too much for you, slide your hands forward, but don't, if you want, I don't want you to lift your back any higher than this right now. So don't move your hands back if you've got a more flexible back. Just stay here and breathe. Good. On your exhalation, come down. Let's turn the toes in. Rest one hand on top of the other. And then just breathe for a couple of seconds, or just relax the back a little bit more. And then coming back up, now we're going to take a full Hatha yoga back bend to your ability, whatever that is. So start with your knuckles of your hands about level with your top of your shoulders, okay? Forehead on the floor, feet are back together and hip width apart. Good. Now roll around a little bit, make sure you're not tightening your buttock muscles. You're not doing this, if you can see. Okay, so keep them nice and relaxed. And we're just going to do, I'm not going to give a lot of instructions for this back bend because we're not going to be staying in it very long. I just want you to kind of squeeze your shoulders up as you come up into Cobra Pose. Relax your shoulders down and breathe. Now if you need to have if you need to be down like this, that's fine. But come up to wherever is comfortable for you and breathe. Good. And after your next exhalation, just take a couple of breaths in child's pose. And come on up to standing. Okay. So we're going to still warm up a little bit more before we head into the actual sun salutations. So this time we're going to lift your right arm, I'll turn this way so you can see me for this part. Grab your right wrist with your left hand. Just keep your both feet planted and just give yourself a big stretch over to the left so you stretch out that right side a little bit more. And then change sides. Good, and then come up. And then the last thing we're going to do before we actually start doing some sun salutations. So the idea here is to get the body pretty much warmed up because sun salutations move kind of fast, although we're not going to do the first ones very fast. And we want the body to, not be all stiff and tired at the time that we start them. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is just some forward bends, dynamic forward bends. So as you inhale, take your arms overhead, take a little bit of a back bend. Exhale, float your arms out to the side and come down into Uttanasana, even if your hands don't touch the floor. Back and forth. Inhale, up. Little back bend. Exhale, down. Inhale. And exhale. And two more. Inhale. And exhale. And last one. And exhale. This time when you come down, just clasp your elbows. Relax the back of your neck. And just breathe. Good. Place your hands at your waist, squeeze your shoulders back, and on your next inhalation, come all the way back up. Okay, so now let's do some sun salutations. So come to the top of your mat, close to the top of your mat. Feet are just, normal distance apart. And start with your hands in prayer position. Now, we'll eventually do this the way it's supposed to be done, but we're going to take a few more breaths in between. Sun salutations are done with every movement is on one half of the breath, but we're going to slow it down a little bit for the first two, okay? So bring the hands to prayer position. On your inhalation, take your arms overhead, take that little back bend. Exhale, come on down into Uttanasana. And then on your next inhalation, step your right leg back and put the right knee on the floor. So you're coming into a lunge. Place your hands, generally I place my right hand here, my left hand on the outside of my leg. You want to scoot your left leg back. On an inhalation, come up into plank pose. And then bring your knees to the floor. Bring your chest and chin to the floor. And then stretch out and come up into Cobra Pose. Curl your toes under and push back in. Now, put your left knee on the floor and step your right leg forward, coming back into a lunge. And then lift the back knee, that left knee, and step up into Uttanasana, standing forward bend. On your next inhalation, come up, arms overhead. Exhale, prayer position. So that is one half of one sun salutation. So now we're going to do the other side. Bring the hands to prayer position. Inhale, take your arms overhead, a little bit of a back bend. Exhale, floating down into Uttanasana, standing forward bend. Inhale, let's go ahead and take that left leg back, put the knee on the floor, so now you're back into a lunge on the other side. See why we needed to kind of warm up first? And then step the right leg back and come up into plank. Put your knees on the floor, and then your chest and chin on the floor, and slide out. And on an inhalation, come up into, how did you get out? Come up into downward facing dog. Go ahead now and curl your toes under, push back into downward facing dog. And then put your right knee on the floor. Step your left leg back up into a lunge. Good. Lift the back knee, the right knee, and step up into Uttanasana, standing forward bend. Inhale, come up, arms overhead, and exhale, prayer position. So, I'm sorry I'm laughing. That was one full sun salutation. I locked my bedroom, or shut my bedroom door. I'm now convinced that my cat knows how to open and close doors. I can, hopefully if we have a little bit of time, I'll tell you why. But that door was shut, and now the cat's out here. He knew that I was getting ready to lock him in, and he tried to run out, and then somehow he got out. So I think, I've seen that before, and I think this cat knows how to turn doorknobs. Okay. Okay, we're going to take it a little bit faster this time. Okay, so we're going to do a second sun salutation, which is both sides. Bring the hands to prayer position. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale, step your right leg back, put the knee on the floor, and come into that lunge. Okay? And then step your left leg back and come into plank. Put your knees on the floor. And then put your chest and chin on the floor and stretch out as you inhale to come up into Cobra Pose. Exhale, curl your toes under, downward facing dog. Put your left knee on the floor, step your right leg forward. Lift your left knee, step it forward. And then inhale, come up exhale, prayer position. That was the first side of the second sun salutation. Palms together. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale, step your left knee back, come into a lunge. Okay. And then step the right leg back, come into plank. And then knees to the floor. Chest and chin to the floor. And inhale as you come up into Cobra. Then go ahead and come into downward facing dog. Put the right knee on the floor. Swing that left leg back around into a lunge. Lift the right knee, step it forward. Inhale and exhale. So, how you doing? So you see what I mean? I'm sure you can feel like a little bit more energized, maybe a little tired, but trust me, it gets the blood flowing, gets the brain moving, because you have to think before each movement. I once taught a yoga class at American University, and my students really love sun salutation, because I would say, whenever you feel like you're getting lethargic and tired, do some sun salutations before you study so you can have some energy. And they swore by that. Okay, we're going to do one more. This time, I'm actually going to call out the breath movements. Now, your breath, see, he opens doors. Your breath may not follow every single movement. You might have to take a few more breaths, but I want you to know how it's supposed to go, and then when you practice, you can try doing this. All right, so I'll be calling out where we should be on every breath. So palms together in front of your heart. Inhale. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, step your right leg back with the knee on the floor. Exhale, and then inhale as you come into plank. Exhale as you put your knees, chest, and chin on the floor. And inhale as you come up into Cobra. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale as you put your left knee on the floor and step the right leg forward. Exhale as you lift the back knee and come into Uttanasana. Inhale as you come up arms overhead. And exhale, prayer position. One side of the third sun salutation. Okay, last side, second side, last time. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale, step the left leg back, put the knee on the floor. Exhale as you step the right leg back. Inhale as you come into plank. Exhale, knees, chest, and chin. And inhale, Cobra. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale as you put the right knee on the floor and step the left leg up into a lunge. Exhale as you lift the right knee and step it forward. Inhale as you come up. And exhale, prayer position. Okay, how do you feel? I feel energized. So let's go ahead and just lie down. So I often do this after I do a lot of sun salutations. And just kind of observe how your body feels. Your breath is probably a little bit faster, that's fine. It'll slow down as you lie here. Can you feel the blood pumping? Can you feel the energy just kind of moving through your body? And I'm always really kind of clear-headed after I do a lot of sun salutations. It just kind of clears the cobwebs. So just let as your breathing slows down, keep your attention focused on how your body feels lying on the floor. Just checking to make sure you've relaxed all the muscles of your face. Relax the throat and the jaw. And then go ahead, after your next exhalation, bend your knees, place your feet on the floor, and either roll over onto your side, or you can rock yourself up to seated. So, I hope you enjoyed that. I love sun salutations. Now, some people who've taken yoga classes with me know that I just don't do it anymore. I don't know that it's not that I can't, it's just that it doesn't have the same appeal to me. But when I turned 50, I started doing, on my birthday, the number of sun salutations for the number of years that I was. And I did that up until every year until I turned 70. And then the last 3 years, I have to say, I haven't really. Because I have to start practicing to do that many sun salutations. I have to start practicing quite a while before my birthday comes. And, I just haven't done it. So we'll see what happens maybe in the future. But I think 20 years, I proved my point after 20 years of doing it. All right, everybody. So remember, you can always rewatch this video if you want to. If sun salutations are something you have a hard time remembering how to do, just watch the video again. And like I said, this is the alternative to what you do when you're feeling anxious and overwrought. This is the kind of practice you want to do when you actually need to kind of rev up the old brain cells and the energy in your body. Okay, so let's bring the palms of our hands together in front of our hearts. Namaste. Thanks for joining me, and have a great weekend, everybody.